Hey, welcome to Now What with Gina, where what do? I answer questions, offer tips, and say stupid shit that I am certain to regret. Good afternoon, evening, Andrea. Glad to see you here. I'm a little excited about today's show. I feel weird calling it a show because, I just come on here and chat a bit, but I'm a little excited about today because I I was I read this book, read most of it about 7, 8 years ago. And I think I stopped reading it because about halfway through, I realized that if I'm going to follow this stuff, I need to quit drinking. And I seriously wasn't ready to quit drinking yet. So I quit reading it. Well, I'm kind of revisiting it and realizing why I quit reading it, and thought I would come in here and share it with you guys. Some of the things that are in this book. I'm not going to do it all tonight. I'm actually going to do it in a series sort of way, so that this is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's by Stephen Covey. If you'd love to read it along with me, you can. You can find it in any bookstore. It's pretty popular. And as I was going through some of this, there were things like what we're going to talk about tonight is the what is it called? The maturity continuum, and that talks about. Move my notes up here so I can read. Not all of them, just I got notes. But anyways, it talks about the levels of maturity according to dependence, independence, and interdependence. But then I was kind of interested in that. I was rereading that. And then I started looking through, I should have saved the page, but I started looking through the 7 habits. And habit 1, be proactive. And immediately I connected with the serenity prayer. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind, which for me is real important because I figure I can continue to focus on the negative stuff of the past, or I can look towards the positive and motivate myself with the positive, which is what I tend to do. 3rd habit, put first things first, or the next right move. These are things that little sayings we have in AA that I believe in and have used to help me. I do a lot of other stuff too, but as I was rereading through the 7 habits, I kind of realized these are all things that I have done to stay sober. Last one, habit 7 is sharpen the saw, and that's just practice, practice, practice. But what I'd like to do in the next few weeks is, like I said, starting with maturity, and then I'd like to talk about some of the 7 habits. And again, I've been trying to do this, cut these back so they're not quite so long. People get bored after a while, and from teaching, I know that the first 10 to 15 minutes, you pretty much got their attention for 10 minutes. After that, and you kind of fall off unless there's some way to be active in the learning process. So I'm trying to cut them down. I thought this would be a great way to do it, and it would keep me motivated or keep me on task, I guess. I come up with ideas randomly. But this way, I can go through the 7 habits and use those as a way to talk about recovery, things you can do to help you recover. So I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about this. I love this book. It has helped me a lot, and it's helped me to understand myself, like the victim mentality and the reactive proactive stuff was really good for me at the time. That's probably what hit me, is that when I was drinking, I was reactive so much, and I wanted to be proactive, but I constantly reacted. And so I want to talk about the difference between reactive and proactive, and just different things you can do. So that's what's coming up in the next couple of weeks, and probably why I'm a little hyped right now. I'm also a little nervous because I want to get this right. Today, though, we're going to talk about the maturity continuum, and starting with the stages of maturity. And allergies are hitting me, so I'm going to apologize if I have to blow my nose or sneeze or drink something, because allergies are awful right now. So I'm looking at my notes. If you are watching from Facebook, I don't see anyone there, but if you are watching from Facebook or YouTube, I would love if you could comment, say hi, let me know where you're from. Something I had a little issue with Restream a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't get any sound on any of those. And I don't know if the chat's working again. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. What, Vince? Okay, I think we're okay. Anyways, I had Vince testing. He says he can't find me on Facebook. So I don't know. I'm still working through. I'm going to sidebar here. I actually did a survey with Restream, and I was able to express some of my concerns, opinions. And the really cool thing is they paid me for the survey, not to say it was good or nothing, but just to tell me, what better they could do. And I'm going to use that to get a chair. Let's see, can you hear it? A chair that doesn't squeak, and probably a microphone. So if you have trouble hearing me, it'll get better in a couple of weeks, I guess. I don't know. Let's see how long this takes. So, by the way, I've loved Restream, and I'm going to put a plug out for them. If you want to stream some live stuff, that's awesome. Check out Restream. It was really simple to use, except for some of the problems that I've had. But if you want help, you can always check me out because I've done it. Anyway, so the 3 phases or phases of the maturity continuum includes dependence, independence, and interdependence. And the way Stephen Covey explains it is, as a baby, you are completely dependent on the people around you. You can't walk, you can't feed yourself, you definitely cannot provide yourself with a roof over your head. You are completely dependent. As you grow up, though, that dependency kind of lessens off a little bit, and you learn to get a little bit independent. You start talking and asking for things. You start playing with friends and don't need, your parents' full attention. You get a little bit older and you go out with friends. You go to school on your own. High school is kind of on your own. They might make you, but you're still getting there for the most part on your own. And then once you become, 20, 21, whichever age you do, you will move out, you get a job, and you become more or completely independent. I don't know that in truth you're completely independent at that age, but or that there's any age. But that's the way he explains dependence and independence. And we're going to talk about interdependence in a little bit, but right now we're just going to I'll talk about interdependence right now. So with dependence, you need other people. With independence, you can do it on your own. With interdependence, you can do it on your own, but you see the benefit of and are willing to seek help from other people. And I'm looking up there. I'm sorry, I've got things set up a little differently, and so I'm not seeing my Instagram camera. I apologize for not looking up at you guys once in a while. So, anyways, interdependence, you can do it on your own, but you see the benefit and are willing to seek the collaboration of others. So, dependence sounds like your opinions define me. I guess he says dependence is a you stage. Your opinions define me. You validate my feelings. You take care of my needs. Without you, I would be nothing. I couldn't survive. That's dependence. Independence is an I stage. It is I define me. My feelings come from within. I take care of myself. I don't know how would I say that last one. I am something because I am. I don't know. That's an independent stage. Interdependence, though, is a we stage, and that sounds like together we can conquer the world. It means that I got distracted. Hold on. It essentially says, I can do this on my own, but several minds together would make it much easier and make it much more effective. And interdependence. It's the idea that you can, but you are willing to seek the help of other people, to work with other people, so that it comes out much more effective and much better. So that's your dependence, independence, and interdependence. Now, there are 3 types of each of those. There's the areas of dependency is what I call them. I didn't quite understand the way he was talking about them, but this is it. There's emotional dependence, physical dependence, and intellectual dependence. And that goes the same with all three, independence and interdependence as well. So, emotional independence, and I'm going to identify this in terms of alcoholism because that's really what we're here for, and what we want to know about is how can we use Stephen Covey's ideas to help us with recovery. So, emotional dependence looks like I need alcohol to make my to make me happy, to make me feel good, to relieve my stress, to get rid of my emotional pain. I need alcohol for that. Um, Physical dependence is can be seen when you get the DTS from drugs, whether it's alcohol or not, any kind of drugs, by the way. I just mostly talk alcohol. When you get the shakes because you haven't had enough, I need alcohol to give me, to get rid of my shakes. I need alcohol to fulfill my cravings. I need alcohol, just so I can function during the day. That's a physical dependence on alcohol. And then you have your intellectual dependence on alcohol. And again, he did not talk about this in terms of alcohol. He talks about this in terms of leadership and business. But the intellectual aspect of alcohol, the intellectual is um about ideas and your brain and making choices is what he says. And for me, the intellectual aspect of alcohol, I made choices based on my ability to drink. If I go to my daughter's, she had an award once, so I'm kind of, you know outing myself. If I go to my daughter's award, I won't be able to drink. I choose to make excuses. I did, and I feel so bad about it, but I made an excuse not to go. Alcohol helped me make that decision. So that would be an intellectual dependence on alcohol. I'm not going to Thanksgiving this year because I won't be able to drink, or I'm only going to go for a couple hours because I won't be able to drink. But I also made other decisions. Like I was arrested once for for drinking by a lake. I was quiet. I was by myself. I wasn't causing any problems. The decision happened because I didn't want to get arrested. There was a big old function going on down at Gulf Shores. And I thought, if I go to Gulf Shores, I am certainly going to get arrested. So I decided to go to Loxley, very quiet little town way outside of it. And I'm going to sit by a lake and drink. And so that decision was an intellectual decision based on, dependent on alcohol. All right, so there you go. Um, Independence, emotional independence means that I can find happiness without alcohol, without other people. I can find it within. I don't need you to build my self-esteem, my joy, So that's emotional independence. I can get through pain, emotional pain without alcohol. I can get through emotional pain without you. I don't need you to define who I am. Um, that's emotional. Physical dependence, independence is I can take care of myself. I have a job. I have a house. Um, and intellectual independence is that I can learn on my own. I can make decisions on my own without the help from anyone. You see, there's like you've got two sides. One is totally I'm dependent on other people. Intellectual is totally, and you can't see my hands, by the way. Intellectual is totally intellectual. Independent is totally I don't need other people. Now I will say that when I was drinking, I was very dependent on other people for all three of those things. And I was dependent on alcohol for all three of those things. Alcohol made a lot of decisions for me. And now that I'm sober, I tend to be what we called in a podcast fiercely independent. I really did not want any help from anyone. I like to think that I can do it on my own. Stephen Covey says that society tends to value independence much more than anything else, and it does it in such a way that it doesn't really make room for interdependence. This we aspect of what we can do. We can do it better. It kind of, if I need help, I must be weak. All right. So if I need help, I must be weak. That emotional interdependence in a marriage. I am happy with who I am, but yes, you make me happier. In physical, I can take care of, pay my own rent, but with your help, when we work together, we can buy a bigger house, or we can be more comfortable. We can, here I worked in a grocery store in the produce department. We can afford organic food over organic vegetables over non-organic vegetables, because more money means that we can spend a little bit more. And then, of course, intellectual independence, intellectual interdependence. This is so confusing sometimes. Implies that together as a team we can come up with better ideas, and we can finish the project much faster. Now, I did talk about dependence in terms of alcohol. I want to talk about independence and interdependence in terms of recovery. So, when I first decided to go into recovery, I joined AA, went to a 12-step group, and I relied a lot on that 12-step group to help me out, to help me out. And put these notes in here. I'm winging it. Um, anyways, yeah, I have a few here. So I wasn't able to do it on my own. And no, I did not want to admit that I couldn't do it on my own. And a lot of people do it on their own, but I needed that help. So I was moving from dependence to independence, but it didn't feel like it. And actually, a lot of people would say you couldn't have done it on your own, and that wasn't quite true. A lot of people do it on their own, but they struggle with it. It's harder. Um, the fact that I went to a group for help, I wasn't in that interdependence phase. I did not think that I could do it on my own. So I wasn't in the interdependence phase. There was still some dependence in there. I went to 90 meetings in 90 days. Helped so much, but that was a dependency on the group to help me get through the emotions I was going through, to help me recover. Um, Also, people relapse and then they go back to the group. So there's still a dependence there. But at 3 years, I'm almost 3.5, I'm a little over 3.5 years sober. I still rely on the group. Don't get me wrong. I still go. I still, when I have down days, I think I say to Vince, I need a meeting. And he does the same thing. It's not a good day. I need a meeting. So we go. So there's still an aspect of dependence in there. But as time has gone by, there's a lot less of it. I'm getting more independent about my sobriety. I don't know that I will ever be completely independent about my sobriety, but I'm definitely more independent about my sobriety. According to Covey, these have to go in a sort of in an order. As a baby, you can't walk, so you're fully dependent, but you are not fully independent. See, the next step is independence. You cannot reach interdependence, this team, this we, unless you understand the difference between dependence and independence. So interdependence is the last stage. It's the top level. It's the one we all achieve for, or should achieve for. And in recovery, it's the one we should have achieved for. So if I'm completely dependent on the group, I won't be able to maintain my recovery without it. I can be completely independent of the group. I can maintain my recovery on my own without the help of a group. However, am I going to be more effective? I'm taking chances of relapse if I don't have those backgrounds. If I am interdependent in recovery, then I understand that there's a difference between going to meetings every single night because I won't recover, going to 4 or 5 meetings a week because I could relapse, or going to meetings because there is strength in my recovery that way. I don't know if that makes sense. I will say it completely makes sense to me. When I was new in recovery, I needed those meetings. I absolutely needed those meetings. I may not have relapsed without them, but they so helped me maintain my sobriety. They helped me um just learn and about sobriety, discover I can have fun, to watch the people have fun and realize that one day I would be there. I needed it. I was very dependent on the group. Now I'm much less independent. I don't know that I'm interdependent. I think I am interdependent actually. Um because I understand the difference between needing it and simply being better with it. If I moved to New York today and there wasn't a meeting available, would I stay sober? I believe I could. I believe I would. Would I have an easier time staying sober with it? I believe I would. I think that's interdependence, you know? Anyways, I'm gonna look at my notes really quick. Um, if there are any questions too, I would love to hear them. I don't see anything from other channels. Andrea, are you getting this? Does this make sense? You are my barometer this time. If this makes sense, please let me know. And I would love to have an opinion. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit longer. I think I'm about done. I'm looking at my notes and I got it all. So I think I'm about done. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. Yes, this makes sense. Thank you, Andrea. It's so good to have some feedback on what's going on. Yeah, I'm hoping, and I don't know if it helped. I'm sure you and I will talk at a later point and let me know if it helped understand where you are maybe in your recovery. I don't want to call you out, so I'm not going to ask. If you want to go ahead and mention it, then I would appreciate it. But again, we can talk later, and I'd love to find out where you are. And the thing, I guess, the reason I think this is important, why do I think this is important? First of all, it's important because a lot of us don't realize how dependent we are on alcohol. You know, if I was independent, I guess at this point, I feel very independent from alcohol. And I feel interdependent from alcohol in the sense that I can leave it or take it. I don't need it. I think I can drink without having a problem. Yeah, I think I can. I choose not to. I choose not to. I don't want to. I don't have any desire to. I know that right now I'm just better without it. So I think in that sense I'm interdependent of alcohol. Um, Independent. You know, for me, it's important to understand the independent aspect of alcohol because I tend to be fiercely independent. I tend to believe that I can do this without help. I I don't need help. I'm okay, but the reality is my life is so much more enhanced because of the relationships I've that have evolved because of the community of the groups that I belong to. That I guess that is the best way to look at interdependence in there is I don't go to recovery groups because I need it anymore. And I'm not trying to do it on my own. I go to recovery groups because it enhances my sobriety. Yeah, I think in those terms, I'm probably interdependent. I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you have watched this and you're listening to some of the stuff I've said, because I'm rereading this book in a whole new way. In terms of what did I call it? Mastering Sobriety the Stephen Covey way. So I'm reading the book in a whole new way, and I'm trying to grasp the ideas. I understand how they benefit me, but trying to grasp it all. Yeah, I think I'm probably fairly interdependent on this aspect. Now, now, emotionally, am I interdependent or dependent on emotions? I'm still struggling with the dependent independent phase on the emotions. If someone, I don't know, that I cared about very much were to say that, I don't know. Yeah, I look for affirmations to say that I'm on the right track for certain things. So I'm not fully evolved along that what is it called, the maturity continuum. I love that. It sounds so intelligent. All right, maturity continuum. Where are you on the maturity continuum? I am going to let you go because at this point I am rambling. Next week, I'm going to read through some more and see if there's anything else, but I'll probably start on the habits next week. And I'm really excited. This is actually where I started thinking about it, was with the proactive versus reactive habit. That's the first habit of Stephen Covey's book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Highly effective people tend to be proactive. And I'm done. So let me know if you have any questions. um, uh, you know I will be here next week. It's 7 o'clock. I am actually thinking about dropping the time down maybe to 6. I don't know. I still like 7 o'clock, but let's see. If you have any opinions, let me know in the comments. I will definitely do that. If you're on YouTube, please hit subscribe and you'll get this whole series. And this is March 31st. So if you are on April 2nd, you've seen it all so far. So anyways, thanks. I'm going to talk to you later. It is time for me to go hang out with my guy. All right. Thank you. Bye. Bye, Andrea. We will talk to you later. And now, how do I hit end stream? There you go. Bye.